Hello everyone, Nadeem here with PC.Solutions.Net. Uh, I get asked a lot about what kind of desktop interface I use. Um, whether it's Windows, Mac OS, or Linux, or some variant of Linux. In this day and age, really, it doesn't matter what interface you're using. It can be any or all of the above. I work with all kinds of operating systems from Mac OS to Windows, Linux, whatever have you, and sometimes they're headless Linux machines, so no graphic interface. But one of the things that I find out is use the system that will run all your applications or a majority of your applications, which for a lot of people is going to be Windows. But what I find is that I can get most work done most efficiently on the macOS interface. And it's the gestures and the way all the applications work together. So the gestures are similar across applications. The experience is similar across applications. And these could be either applications from Apple or third parties. In Windows, it's a much clunkier process where app developers will do their own thing in certain situations. So I want to show you what the interface looks like. So right here I've got on the left hand side here I've got the Windows interface, and over here I've got the Mac OS. So the main difference between these is that Windows is application focused, Mac is document focused. So Mac is content focused and Windows is application focused. What I mean by that is on the Mac side, you don't have to worry about what application something is created, and you just click it, you go. And as the new versions of macOS come out, the transition is going more and more towards that side where it's trying to hide the app and letting the main focus be the content. On the Windows side, it's the opposite and kind of mixture, because some apps behave differently, and there's no hard set rules or guidelines that these developers follow. So the main thing when you visually see, when you visually look at the interfaces is, on Windows we have the bar at the bottom. So we have the time, the icons and all that at the bottom. On Mac OS we have the time and all that at the top. So your status and everything is up at the top. At the bottom on the Mac is the dock. Now you can get rid of the dock altogether. This is not my desktop on either side, by the way. It's just a generic image. So on the Mac side, you have the dock at the bottom, and I usually don't like dock with so much stuff here, because you just press Apple key space and then type in the name of your app if you want to run the app, and just hit enter, and it never fails. It opens the right app up. However, you probably don't want to even do that. You just want to go into whatever work you're doing and go, let the OS decide what app it is, and it usually figures out the best option. Now, one of the things I absolutely love about Mac OS is its built-in capability to edit and manipulate PDF files. So I mean, it never fails. I mean, even with the third parties, Acrobat is so clunky, and it's just a disgusting user experience in Acrobat. On Mac OS, it is such an elegant, easy to use, nice interface. And what I mean by that is not just how it looks and things like that. It's like if I have a document that somebody sent me and I need to manually sign it, I have to jump through hoops to get it done in Acrobat, and even then sometimes it just doesn't go right. You got to make sure your signature background is transparent and all this. You got to just jump through hoops. On the Mac side, it's just so easy. I mean, it's I hate to say this, but it's even easier on the on iOS, so iPad OS or iOS. It's even easier to sign documents, PDF documents on those devices than it is sometimes in Windows. Now, of course, that's after you already pay money for Acrobat. So there is, that big issue for me, especially when I'm working with documents. I just got to get it signed. I mean, I have, like sometimes I get this stuff that I get from, the county and stuff I need to sign and send it back. And it's just a pain. So that's the thing. Now, as far as how productive I am on either interface, it's the features are both there on both operating systems. Besides the PDF functionality, the feature set is pretty similar. The only reason, so I would totally get rid of Windows in my environment if we did not have this proprietary application that we use that requires Windows to run. And for the longest time, I didn't have a Windows machine, a physical Windows machine. I do now. I have a few, but for the longest time, I didn't, just to see how well the process works, if I can actually make the switch to Mac, and I did, and it worked well. The only thing is, I would have to have some kind of virtual machine running Windows, or maybe a cloud machine running Windows that I can run our line of business applications from, and that's what we use to manage and maintain all the customer systems. So I had to have that. There's no getting around that. As far as productivity goes, the features, the experience is very similar across applications on macOS, not so on the Windows side of things. And then on the Windows side of things, like I have a Surface device, and if you take that keyboard off, or if you put it into tablet mode, now it comes with its own set of issues, like certain apps, even Microsoft's own apps. For example, Teams. If you minimize Teams and you're in tablet mode, well, good luck to you. So I just have to jump between tablet mode and non-tablet mode just so I can get to that little icon down at the bottom right corner, because that gets hidden in tablet mode. And of course, some people are saying, well, just don't hide it, just have it show all the icons. Well, but then the real estate is so small on that bar that it's not very touch friendly. So it's it's kind of a clunky process how that works. But other than that, I use all of them, and the reason I'm talking mostly about Mac OS and Windows is because those are probably going to be the human interfaces that you're going to use. Ubuntu, some people use that, but not a lot. I mean, in business, I would say less than 10%, I would say less than 1% even. So the interface, for Mac OS and Windows is are the main competitors. Windows, it's a little clunkier. For my taste, Mac OS is much more smoother experience. One of the things I also notice is if you're doing graphic intensive tasks, so if you're doing things like editing movies, or editing video clips, or even audio, the apps from Apple use all the resources available to you in the machine. So for example, it's going to use the GPU if you have one. It's going to use all the resources available. And for some paid apps, it's true on Windows side as well, but it's again, because the ecosystem is so fragmented. It's you can have a Windows machine with so many different types and styles of GPUs. You got to make sure that your application actually is going to be able to use it, and use it to its full potential. And that's the beauty of a closed system like a Mac, that you buy off the shelf. It's everything is going to work well together because it's all integrated, as opposed to Windows, where you can build your own machine and stick Windows on it and go. Just like Linux out there. Linux even nowadays, getting certain Wi-Fi adapters to work it's a hassle. You got to jump into the terminal and take care of some things there, but But at the end of the day, if you're looking for elegance and biggest productivity, Mac OS is where it's at for me. However, if you have any applications that are Windows specific, there are no Mac counterparts, then you have no choice but to have some, Windows machines in the mix. I gotta say, Windows has come a long way. I switched to Mac, I think, back in Windows 7 days, and if you think it's clunky now, it was pretty bad back then. So competition is always good. Hopefully, both these companies, keep competing with each other and keep bringing us newer, better devices. Yeah, if you have any questions regarding either one of those, feel free to hit me up. Shoot me an email or call me, and or I'll try to get some more depth. If you want to see the usability, the interaction between human and all that, the gestures and things like that. I can do another video on that. The thing about gestures on macOS is that they are natural. You pretty much have to be a non-techie, and you pick them up faster. For a techie like me, who all his life has been working in Windows or Linux, and then all of a sudden I dropped into Mac one time, and I only got there because one of my colleagues, Kaleem, said, hey, you got to try a Mac. I used to think it was for kids. It was just a toy. But then the first time I tried it out, it was such a good experience, and I was like, wow. And so, but I say the interface really in this day and age does not matter. Use whatever you feel most comfortable with, whatever runs all your applications, and then go from there. And if you like Mac or if you like Windows more, and there are certain apps that you want to run, here's the thing: if you have a Mac, you can run Windows virtually in a Mac and run all your applications. But if you have Windows, you cannot run Mac OS virtually in a Windows machine. You can do a Hackintosh, but the problem with that is it's not legal. So legally, you can't do that. And I guess that's one of the things. It's some rules that come into it. Anyway, I hope everybody had a great Memorial Day, and everybody, I'll see you tomorrow. Have a good one.